CBS News Bay Area Afternoon Edition with Makovec.
Thanks for joining us this Wednesday. Right now, heavy equipment is bulldozing through a homeless encampment in the East Bay. The city of Berkeley is finished asking people to move. Crews moved in early this morning using bulldozers to clear tents and people's belongings. This is at Harrison and 8th Streets. Police have blocked that area off. Pictures of the encampment before this week showed that it wrapped around at least 2 city blocks. City officials says they told people living there back in January that they would be clearing the area, but did not give a specific date. Our chopper was over the scene, showing city workers throwing pallets into a dump truck. The city says the encampment is dangerous with rats and hazardous materials. They say over the past 4 years, they have offered people living their housing multiple times. We are going to continue to follow this developing story here on CBS News Bay Area. San Jose's Mayor Matt Mahan doubling down on his plan to arrest unhoused people who refuse multiple offers of shelter. This morning, he spoke about what he calls the Responsibility to Shelter Initiative. He calls it a core piece of his June budget message up for a vote next week. That includes updating the city's code of conduct to allow charging homeless residents with trespassing if they refuse shelter 3 times over 18 months. The mayor argues if the city is going to invest in building more shelters, people have a responsibility to use them.
We need to refocus on compassion, on accountability, on our responsibility to build shelter, and at the county level to build treatment, and our neighbors' responsibility to come indoors. Today,
the mayor's proposal also includes a focused police unit to address repeat quality of life crimes and a push to tie city leaders' pay to performance. That proposal is set for a final city council discussion on June 10th. Recalled Alameda County District Attorney Pamela Price is speaking out today. She says that she is concerned with the way her successor is running the DA's office. Price alleging that District Attorney Ursula Jones-Dixon has dismissed charges against Radius Recycling over a massive West Oakland scrapyard fire in 2023 without properly notifying the victims or explaining her decision to the public. Price also accusing Jones-Dixon of dismissing insurance fraud cases that Price's office spent a year working on that she says could have netted $33 million for consumers in Alameda County.
I think it's fair to say that the new appointed district attorney made a decision, a dramatic decision, without doing her due diligence. And that appears to be a theme. When you dismiss environmental pollution case, when you dismiss corporate cases, who are you protecting? You are not protecting the residents of Alameda County.
So now Price is planning to release an open letter documenting what she calls the mishandling of cases. Price was recalled in November of last year. Her opponents arguing she was too soft on crime. We've reached out to Ursula Jones-Dixon, the new DA, for comment and have not yet heard back. The man convicted of killing Cash App founder Bob Lee was in court today with new attorneys. Nima Momeni was supposed to be sentenced in May, but as Lauren Toms explains, he's going to have to wait for months before he finds out his fate.
Nima Momeni appeared in court today along with his brand new legal team. He fired the team that represented him through his trial that resulted in a second-degree murder conviction. Now, Momeni was present in the courtroom today in an orange jumpsuit, and today's hearing was a preliminary hearing, ideally to set the date for a sentencing hearing, but his new team is playing catch-up, so that hearing has been postponed so they can get read in on the entire trial. But his new lawyers telling me they have strong concerns about the fairness of his trial.
He is anxious to get through with this process and move on to the next stage. There are good reasons to believe that there were problems with the trial that compromised the fairness of the proceedings, and we're going to address those going forward.
Now, Momeni's sentencing date was originally scheduled for May 16th, but because of his new team, that has been postponed, with the next check-in date set for August 22nd. His lawyers telling us it will take at least 6 months to get the transcripts from the entire trial. Now, we also heard from Bob Lee's former wife, Krista Lee. Now, the Lees are suing the Momeni family, claiming emotional damages from the trial and claim that the Momeni family attempted to cover up parts of the crime back in April 2023. Momeni facing 16 years to life in prison for the second-degree murder conviction in the fatal stabbing of Bob Lee.
Developing news now, the Trump administration is moving to pull $4 billion in federal funding for California's high-speed rail project. The Department of Transportation released a report today saying California conned the taxpayer with no viable plan to deliver even a partial segment of the project. The 315-page review cited missed deadlines, budget shortfalls, and questionable projections about ridership. The project has blown past its budget by about $100 billion since its original estimate in 2008. Right now, construction is underway on a 171-mile stretch in the Central Valley. The Trump administration isn't asking for repayment of past funds, but it's giving California until mid-July to make its case before it cancels the grant. Former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi responding with a statement saying, in part, it is unfortunate that the secretary has misrepresented the facts and lacks understanding of how California high-speed rail promotes commerce, improves quality of life for Californians, and creates good-paying jobs. Meanwhile, President Trump's new 50% tariffs on steel and aluminum are now in effect. U.S. steel workers are applauding the move, saying the president is securing the future of their industry, while trade groups are sounding the alarm about the potential impacts to customers.
Be up for retailers and producers to decide ultimately how they adjust their pricing. But what we are seeing in our supply chain will be an increase in cost to produce metal cans, which will then get passed along in the process of production. Experts say prices on homes could even be affected. New reaction coming in to an order from Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth to remove Harvey Milk's name from a U.S. Navy ship. Milk was the first openly gay man to be elected to office in California. The former San Francisco supervisor was also a Navy veteran who served during the Korean War. Our Veronica Macias got reaction from people in the Castro.
The owner of the Castro Coffee Company just down the street here calls this a sad day for America. And other owners of long-standing establishments here in the Castro tell me they don't understand the purpose of this act of stripping Harvey Milk's name from a USS Navy oil tanker and who benefits from it. People are telling me that the fact that this act comes at the start of Pride Month is just cruel. One woman we talked to who grew up in the Castro tells me this is the time now to remember the words of the trailblazer. Hope will never be silent. Back in 1978, she was on a city bus the day that Milk was assassinated at City Hall and remembers the chaos when it happened. She almost fell into tears this morning remembering Milk's legacy and how it impacts her family. Others also angry at the defense secretary's move.
I think it's disgusting that they would remove a person's name solely because of their sexual preference. It makes no sense. What about others that have come and fought for rights? You know, it's a bad decision on a terrible administration. I am a proud mother of a trans child and non-binary. My voice is going up, sorry. And in my family, we welcome everyone. Everyone is welcome. In fact, I almost wore that shirt today. But anyway, it's just a sad moment in our country. Yet another one that has come down.
A memo that came from the administration says the purpose of renaming these naval ships is to realign the military with the administration's priorities.
Yeah, and we have much more on Milk's legacy, including his time serving in the Navy, on our website, KPIX.com. A new response to escalating safety concerns within the LGBTQ plus community. Local organizations hosting self-defense classes specifically for trans and queer people. We're joining a group for hands-on training to show how people are reclaiming power, preparing for threats, and finding a sense of strength in community.
We need to empower community to feel safe in our own spaces, but also to feel affirmed in their existence.
You can watch the full story airing tonight on KPIX at 5 p.m. Still ahead here at noon and streaming on CBS News Bay Area, a new report out today on the availability of jobs in the U.S., what it says about the state of small businesses. Plus, a warning about social media, the mess one Facebook user got into when scammers just stole her identity and started targeting her friends. A little bit of bad news if you're looking for a job right now. Private sector hiring appears to be slowing down. According to a new report from payroll company ADP, private sector firms added only 37,000 jobs in May. That is down from 60,000 in April and significantly lower than the 130,000 jobs economists were expecting. President Trump responded on social media, urging Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell to cut interest rates. After some tense negotiations that included a big strike in March, you might remember, BTA workers approved a new contract with the transit agency. That includes a 14% raise over 4 years, more health benefits, and new workplace policies. Also, both sides agreed to drop all legal action stemming from the strike, which shut down VTA for more than 2 weeks. Back to our first alert weather now, taking a live look outside. A little bit hazy out there. This is the view from our camera on top of Mount Diablo. And the Bay Area Air Quality District has extended an air quality advisory today because of smoke coming in from those wildfires in Canada. Let's check back in with meteorologist Zoe Mintz.
Well, I have some good news about the smoke from those wildfires in Canada. Although we might be seeing a little bit of haze out there, I kind of just want to show you satellite imagery right now because the thickest of the haze, the thickest of the smoke is across the eastern half of the United States. But across the western half of the United States, we're actually looking at high pressure that's dominating. So yes, you might see a little bit of haze, but our air quality is not nearly as bad as those places across the eastern half. So just kind of want to keep that in mind. It's all about perspective because yes, there is some haze, but it's nothing too crazy. If you are sensitive, though, keep that in mind. You might not want to step out without a mask if you maybe have some severe asthma. Inland communities right now, we're sitting in the low 80s. Down in the Santa Clara Valley, we're in the mid 70s, and our coastal communities are still sitting in the upper 50s to maybe low 60s. By the afternoon hours, I would say between 3 and 4 will be our peak daytime heating hours. We'll be seeing those highs warming up into the upper 80s across our inland East Bay communities and down into the Santa Clara Valley, and even the coast will be sitting in the mid 60s. So overall, these temperatures are a couple of degrees above what we were feeling yesterday and a couple of degrees above average as well for this time of year, at least for our inland areas and down into our coastal communities. Really nice conditions. We are going to be seeing a bit more cloud coverage arriving overnight tonight and into early tomorrow morning. And you see those little flashes of green? That's the potential for a little bit of mist or drizzle. It's only going to be along our coastal communities, but it just lets you know that there is a lot more moisture and a lot more thick cloud coverage heading our way as we step out early tomorrow morning. And that's going to keep our temperatures tomorrow afternoon a degree or 2 cooler than what we're feeling today, but it's not going to be cold by any means, back down to near 80 instead of mid to lower 80s. And we're going to continue to see these quiet, dry conditions with little to no changes when it comes to our temperatures throughout the rest of this work week and into this upcoming weekend. Even along our coastal communities, we'll be seeing those mid to lower 60s along with that daily early morning fog giving way to afternoon sunshine. Those typical June conditions sticking around again for at least the next week. The first full week of June is feeling like how it should. Back to you.
Thanks, Zoe. Well, it's very likely that you or someone you know has had their Facebook account hacked. Well, one woman says somebody stole her Facebook account and then used it to try to steal from others. Josh Sitterwitz has her story.
Even on a beautiful day.
Oh my God, it's amazing.
Sherry Evans still feels like she's got a cloud hanging over her.
What really gets me the most is the feeling of being violated, the feeling of my memories being stolen from me.
She brought out some pictures she still has around the house because her digital memories are locked away on a Facebook account she's now been locked out of since February.
Some crazy person is violating all of my personal material and videos and pictures and messages and
to make matters worse, the scammer not only stole her account, but turned it against her, setting up a fake sale to try to swindle her friends with this post, claiming they were moving her uncle into a care facility, so they needed to sell his stuff.
All of a sudden, I was getting phone calls asking, can they buy the Jeep? One of the cheer moms wanted to know if she could have the Peloton. How much was I charging for it?
This is a classic spear phishing scheme.
Rob Dovidio is a cybersecurity expert with Drexel University.
It's very targeted. It's taking advantage of that trust that's within your network. You as someone who's connected to me on Facebook, you're going to trust that I'm not going to put you in harm's way. And that's what these criminals are taking advantage of.
He says the number one thing you can do to protect your account is set up two-factor authentication, which adds another verification step to the login process. It's something Sherry admits she did not have set up, but she does plan to add it if she can ever get her account back. She says she has tried several times but cannot get through to a real person at Meta for help.
I hope if one person sees this, they will do some of the things that I didn't do. Like, I never changed my Facebook password. I never thought about it.
Meta didn't get back to me either, but at least 40 attorneys general have demanded the company take immediate action on what they said is a dramatic spike in hacked accounts and a lack of response to help users. Meta responded that it invests heavily in its review teams and has specialized detection tools to identify compromised accounts.
Wow. During her life, Princess Diana was certainly a fashion icon. Coming up at noon, how you can own a piece of her fashion collection. We have a preview of the thousands of items on the auction block. Decades after her death, the market for Princess Diana's clothing is booming. From Chanel shoes to ski suits, fashion worn by the people's princess is going up for auction. More than 200 items are on offer, including a black taffeta gown made by the same designers who created her legendary wedding dress. Experts say Diana's timeless fashion is now considered a high-value investment.
If you look around, these items, some of which Diana wore as far back as 1980s, they could be worn today. They're relevant, they're in great condition, they're quality items, they're works of art.
Wow, the auction takes place later this month in Beverly Hills, but online bidding is already going strong. Some of her gowns are expected to fetch hundreds of thousands of dollars. Still ahead here at noon and streaming on CBS News Bay Area. Somebody was getting hangry. The surprise a convenience store owner got from a recent customer. You have to check this out. A wild elephant caught in the act grabbing snacks from a convenience store. This is in Thailand. You can see here on surveillance camera footage. He moved the freezer with his trunk to get better access to the dried bananas and peanuts, of course. Elephants are Thailand's national animal, but poaching, tourism, and logging has caused their population to decline. They're considered a sign of good luck. So hopefully that worked out for that convenience store owner. That is it for the afternoon edition. Remember, we're streaming 24/7 on the free CBS News app.